my name is Sam, and thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below along with the little bell and give the video a thumbs up. So I went to go over my TBR, and I didn't get through everything I wanted to in February, so some of them got bumped to March. That's why I cushioned my reading goals. I also have had to just accept that I'm not going to get some of my reading goals done. It's just not going to happen with all the books I want to read in the TBR Beyond book group, as well as just wanting to keep up with new releases. So, you know what? I'm just going to do what I can, okay? And I'm not going to worry too much about that. I know I'll be able to get the Harry Potter one done, and I think I'll be able to do every other month the Sherlock ones, but Lord knows what's going to happen other than that. So let's just get started, because there's a lot of books that I want to get through in March. So one of the books I am planning on reading in March is A Court of Mist and Fury. I finished ACOTAR at the very end of February, and I'm so excited. I want to get over Tamlin, okay? We need to move on from Tamlin. ACOTAR is almost ruined once you know everything that happens afterwards and everything. So I'm just so excited to get into A Court of Mist and Fury and revisit Chapter 55. I also plan on reading Shatter by April Lynn Pike. This is the sequel to Glitter, which I reread in January, I think. And I'm so excited, A, to be finished another duology, but also Glitter just got me so excited for this. The ending of Glitter was so good. So we are back in the world of Marie Antoinette meets Breaking Bad, and now there was a forced arranged marriage where one of them is a sociopath. So I'm really curious to see how this goes. I also managed to get through The Heart of Betrayal by Mary Pearson in February, so I'm going to be reading The Beauty of Darkness in March, and then I'll be done rereading the trilogy, which was one of my goals actually, so I'll be really happy with that. One thing to check off my list. But this is the ending of The Remnant Chronicles, where Leia is, being a real badass. So I'm really excited about that. I think that's actually going to fit into the Badass Women reading challenge that they're doing in TBR and Beyond online, so I'm really excited about this. And I'll be super ready for Dance of Thieves now. I'm ready. I'm game for that now. I also plan on reading Cinder and Scarlet by Marissa Meyer in March. I normally was just going to do one each month, but for whatever reason, every time I read the series, I always want to read these two back to back. I don't know exactly why. I just love both of them so much. So I am definitely going to get to these. If I don't get to both of them, it will definitely be to at least Cinder, but I'll likely get both of them done. I wasn't able to get to it in February just because February was short and I got interrupted a lot of times. And reading the Arc of Queen trying to read the Arc of Queen's Venuslayer really slowed me down. So I'm going to try again in March to read A Dragonfly in Ember. This is my reread of the Outlander series. It's time travel, romance, Jacobite Scotland, hot ginger. I am also working my way. I'm just realizing I was super ambitious in my reading challenge, and as I'm going through the TBR, I was there was no way I was going to get all this done. What is wrong with me? But anyways, I am rereading my way through Harry Potter, so I am on the third. I've actually stayed on track on this one. The third month of 2018, and I'm working my way on the third book of Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Azkaban, and the last illustrated edition that I have while I'm doing this, so I'll be switching to the paperback copies after this. I'm just so excited. The illustrations are just so gorgeous. But yeah, Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Azkaban. It's Harry Potter. There's too many books on the list. I have to rehydrate in the middle of it. I also plan on trying to get to Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare. I never got to my Shakespeare play in January, so if I get this done, I'm going to see if I can sneak Taming of the Shrew in. They're not long. They're just something that I gotta commit to sitting down and reading in one go. You don't really split up Shakespeare reading. March is the glorious month in which Obsidio comes out. I've already reread Illuminae near the end of 2017, and I am kind of just continuing off that, because Illuminae is just so fresh in my mind. I'll never forget that book. So I'm going to be reading the sequel Gemina, and once I get Obsidio, I don't know if I'll get it early enough in the month to read it, but if not in March, I'll read it in April for sure. This is not a series that you can put off once you start reading, because cliffhanger, book hangover, just so much goodness. But I also plan on reading Daughter of the Siren Queen by Tricia Levenseller whenever my copy does show up. I'm reading it as a part of a group read for TBR and Beyond book group, and I'm so excited I read the arc of it, but I'm really curious to get my hands on the finished copy. I am also going to be picking up A Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston, which is also, whenever it shows up, I'll pick it up right away. It is an Anastasia-inspired, space retelling. And as soon as I heard Anastasia, I was like, whoa, sign me up, click pre-order. Then I read the rest of the summary. I was like, this sounds really, really cool. So there's I don't know, something happens in space, and I just like the sounds of it. And one of my friends that read it, and we always seem to have like identical reviews on like almost every book, gave it a 5 stars, so I'm really, really excited about this. I am also going to be picking up, hopefully in March, if not in April, The Tangled Lands by, I'm sorry I can't pronounce the author's names, but it's one of my most anticipated of the year reads. There's like a toxic tyrant like in a world that like magic has been so misused or something like that it's like poisoned the community or something like that. I should really get better at like detailed descriptions because I just don't like spoiling myself, and sometimes summaries like really just like run away. But yeah, so I'm going to try and get to that in March. I plan on rereading Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend, the first book in the Nevermore series. We are doing a group read of this in March in the TBR and Beyond book group, and I'm so excited to reread this. I'm also excited that I'm reading it at the same time I'll be reading like a Harry Potter book, or in the same month at least. Just there's so many Harry Potter feels in this. It's just so good. I've been like harassing people to read this book, and it's been working. So, and I remember last time I mentioned it, I wasn't sure how long it was going to be. So currently it got signed on as a trilogy, but the authors told me on Twitter that she has plans for 9 books actually. So I'm really curious if they're all going to be middle grade, if they're going to kind of work themselves up with the readers the way Harry Potter did, if it'll be stuck as the trilogy and then nothing else. I don't know, but if the second and third are anywhere as good as this book, I anticipate it getting the 9 books. But kind of Harry Potter feels. Our main character is kind of taken away from her world to another world because in her world she's considered a cursed child. She's taken away and has to find out what her powers are in this new world in order to earn her keep and stay in that new world. I also plan on reading The Queen's Rising by Rebecca Ross. I know nothing of this summary, and I don't want to. Honestly, this is a total cover buy. I love all the little like intricate details around it, and I'm just super, super excited. I'm a sucker for royalty too, so I'm really excited to get this going probably at the beginning of March. I also plan on picking up The Bone Witch by Rinch Pecco. I think I'm saying that right. I was not sure at the beginning of it. I actually got an arc of the sequel, so I want to get on this. I just keep putting it off. I've heard like pretty overall not good things about this book, but it seems to be more of just like general taste. So I'm really curious. Hopefully I'll really, really enjoy it. The cover is so cool. Even with the negative things though, that doesn't seem to have deterred me, which is very odd because that does tend to like influence me when I know people that I have similar taste as, but they're like, nah, I hated the book. And I'm like, for this, I'm like, it's okay. Maybe it's for me. But I love the cover of this, and the sequel cover is really, actually, where's my sequel? The sequel, The Heart Forger. I'm really hoping I like them because they're just so cool. If I like this one, then I'll probably read this in April or so. I'm going to try my darndest to get to Sight Witch by Susan Dennard this month. I can probably do it in just one night just because of how short the book is. Plus it's got the illustrations in it. But it is our like novella to hold us over until Blood Witch comes out, which I don't even honestly know if Blood Witch has a release date at this point. But it kind of talks about one of the like kind of religions around I honestly don't even know how to explain it, and I've read the e-preview excerpt. I just don't know how to explain it. So I'm just really curious to give this one a go, and hopefully I'll like it a little bit more than I liked the excerpt that I got. But the cover is just so cool, and I just want to get it done, and then, you know, if I like it, then I can just keep rereading this until Blood Witch comes out. I also plan on trying to get to Honor Among Thieves by Rachel Kane and Anne Aguirre. I'm not sure. I am just so curious about this book. I was very hesitant to pick it up just because I think I saw the blurbs everywhere that said, like, for people who enjoyed Defy the Stars. And I was like, that was not me. Maybe, but whatever. I bought it. So I know that our main character has had a troubled past. She's been in and out of rehab and involved with the crime ring in New Detroit. I don't know if it's like Earth has been redone and like Detroit is just New Detroit. I don't know. But she gets kind of recruited by aliens to be used to explore the outer reaches of, like, the world. I don't know if it's, like, we've used up all of Earth or whatever, but I'm just really, really curious about this. And the cover is so, so, so cool. I love that. And I know it's just a sci-fi, but it sounds like a sci-fi that would actually fit me. I'm not a big sci-fi person, but things like Illuminate tend to, like, really appeal to me. So I'm hoping that this will fall under this, like, kind of, like, overlapping of fantasy and sci-fi into like my sweet spot. I am also pretty determined that I'm going to read Gunslinger Girl this month by Lindsay L. Ellie? I want to say Elf every time. Lindsay Ellie. Honestly, my only real interest in this was the James Patterson Presents part of it. Because I mean, like, the stuff that he has put out under that, like James Patterson Presents, I've always really, really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this one a go. I'm not normally a fan of Westerns, but the few people that I know that did get an arc, that I tend to have similar tastes as, seem to really, really enjoy it. I know our main character, Serendipity, inherited guns and like a good aim or something like that from her mother. So she goes west, I believe, to try and kind of like find a new thing for herself. I assume that her parents are dead in that sense. And she gets there and like there's like a undercity kind of corruption thing kind of going on, I think. So I'm really, really curious about this. It kind of sounds like that kind of, once again, the sweet spot between like fantasy and Western and like mystery that I really like. So hopefully I will really, really enjoy it. And the cover is just so cool. Like I said, don't normally like people on the cover, but there's been some like pretty big exceptions to that this year. I just love this kind of like female, like badass look on it. I also, at the very beginning of the month, want to get through Slight by Jennifer Somersby. She's a Canadian author. This was actually originally published on Wattpad a couple years ago, and it was just so popular that a publisher picked it up, fixed it all up, made it all new shiny. It's got a special, nice new cover. If I remember the summary of this book correctly, it's like one of our main characters has the ability to like see terrors or something like that, and it's normally just her, and she's in like a circus, but something happens and one of the characters dies at the beginning doing something just very like a regular routine part of the circus, and then all of a sudden other members of the circus are able to start seeing the hallucinations or bad things that I think she's seeing. And then there's this like new guy that just bought the circus, some kind of creepy, weird stuff going on. And I think it's like the perspective of our main character that she kind of thinks that maybe she's losing her mind or something like that. So I'm really, really curious about this. It comes out April 3rd. I'm pretty excited about this, to say the least. I don't know why. I just have a very good feeling about this circus book. I am determined to get to this book this month. It comes out March 6th, I think. Daughters of the Storm by Kim Wilkins. This book just, like, the cover alone is what intrigued me, and I squealed when I saw the arc at the conference that I picked it up at. I'm just so curious. The main, like, this kingdom is, the king is kind of dying, so they put him in, like, a magically induced coma, and the 5 sisters are trying to get around their stepbrother, who's essentially trying to steal the throne, and to try and find, like, a lost relative with a cure to bring back and save their father. From the sounds of it, there's a lot of political upheaval and confusion, so that if the king does die, essentially it sounds like there's going to be an all-out civil war. And this is the first book, and I believe it's going to be a trilogy. This just sounds like not something new in YA, but the recipe for me to get obsessed with a book and get far too emotionally invested, and then to get to the end and have my heart ripped out and be like, why do I have to wait so long for the sequel? And it sounds like I hate that, but I kind of love that. And it sounds dark. I like that part of it too. So I'm really excited to read this one. I also want to try and get to Daughters of the Winter Queen by Nancy Goldston. My friend Amanda wants this arc, so I want to finish it and pass it along to her as soon as I can. But it's our main characters. It's all her daughters, and we follow them as they're kind of married off to different parts of Europe and kind of see what they do. And they're all the daughters of a woman who was the granddaughter of Mary Queen of Scots. So I'm just kind of curious. The history degree in me is really like piqued interest-wise in this. I don't love the cover, but the story just sounds pretty interesting. So I'm gonna really, really try my darndest to get to it. It comes out in April if you're interested as well. I also want to try and get to Arlo Finch in the Valley of Fire by John August. This is a middle grade book. I don't know tons about it. I know that our main character, Arlo Finch, lives in Colorado, like near a forest, and he goes in and there's like magic all of a sudden, like he has magical powers. It just sounds like a fun kids like middle grade adventure with lots of like soul searching and morals and that kind of stuff, with obviously some magic. And I love when all you find that stuff in like a world that you know, like attached to almost a contemporary setting. It's in Colorado, and then you could be like, it's Colorado. Some kid could read this and look out the door and be like, I wonder if our forest is magic. I love the concept of that. Like, thinking that just warms my heart. So I'm just really excited to get to this book. I also want to get to Enter Three Witches by Caroline B. Cooney. This is a Macbeth retelling. The book's also 10 years old, and I had never heard of it until like this past week. I am just super curious about this. Yeah, I don't want to read too much of the summary just because I know it's a Macbeth retelling and I know Macbeth. So yeah, I'll link it in the description down below if you're interested, but I'm just super, super curious about this. I was also given an arc that I want to try and get to this month called Darwin Comes to Town. It's about like survival of the fittest kind of concept, but in an urban setting. I, for the life of me, can't pronounce the author's name. I'm sorry. I think it was Menno something. I'll it's right there on the cover. But the concept and like the information just sounds super, super interesting, and it's always something I'm looking to find out more about. I also have an arc for Speak Easy by Alyssa Smith that I really, really want to get to this month. It's like a historical kind of mystery whodunit, I think in like Prohibition era or something like that. I'm just super excited to get to that one. And last is Zenith or Zenith. I'm not sure how to say it because I always said, my brain says to say Zenith, the Androma Saga, but I guess it's Zenith, the Androma Saga? I don't know. This is the book by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. I have actually thoroughly enjoyed watching people rant about how much they disliked this book on YouTube. There's so many videos of it, and it's honestly just so entertaining to watch. I got an arc of this book through a conference. I really wasn't going to pick it up just because of all the negative things that I'd heard, and I just had heard very consistently the same things of the writing is just bad. So I wasn't going to touch it, but I got the arc, and my friend Meg has been bugging me to say, can you read it and tell me what you think? I don't want to spend money on it if I know it's not good. So, to Meg, because I know she's watching this, I'm taking this bullet for you, okay? Okay? I know you've had a rough month and I love you. So, I'm reading this, I'm taking the bullet for you because I love you. And you better appreciate this, man, because I'm going to probably buy a bottle of wine to read this one to kind of go along with it, so. Oh, yeah. So that ridiculously long list / video is my TBR attempts for March. I don't think I'm going to get through them, let's be real. But, you know, I'd rather reach for the stars and, you know, we'll see how it goes. Worst comes to worst, I just bumped some of them to April. We'll see. But yeah, check out the description box down below. I'll link all of the books to their Goodreads pages. And also make sure to check out the links to my social media, because if you follow me, I will follow you back.